Hello, I am your host, Chris Saggett, and you are watching the Writing Community Chat Show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Writing Community Chat Show. I say this week, we have 2 shows a week, so I don't know why I said this week's show, but 2 Wednesday show anyway, and we have made it to what is classed as Hump Day. So that might mean something different to some of you, but to me, it means the middle of the week. And we are heading for Friday, which is always a fantastic thing. And we do have a fantastic guest for you today, someone that I recently spoke to in what you may know as seen the video of the Harrogate Festival vlog video that we did back last week, which was fantastic. And it was a great experience. So by the way, that video on YouTube, I just checked. And last week I was amazed that it hit 600 odd views like a couple of days afterwards. I've just checked it. It's on 1.3 thousand views and it's had like 130 something likes, which is absolutely outstanding for me. So that has blown my mind. So if you haven't seen the Harrogate vlog video, please check that out because there is some craziness in there. And that one of the guests today, in fact, features on that very loosely. So it's great that we've got her back on to actually get her side of the story today. And if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. Welcome to the Crazy Family, which is a wonderful, supportive family. But please hit that like button and the subscribe button, and of course the notification bell so you don't miss this live interaction. And please get involved in the chat. So, Mario, hello to you. Great shower scene, indeed it was. Greetings, friends. Hello to you all in the chat as well. Wonderful to see you in the chat as well. Nice and energetic. Is Chris wearing a sweatshirt? Why? I am, and I'm regretting that instantly. Thank you very much. It's rather warm, so I may have to take it off at some point. Wednesday. Yes. So yeah, brilliant time at Harrogate Festival. A great experience for us, and it was something that was like an aim for this show to get to, and we got there, which is brilliant. So what I want to do is bring on that guest that was there at the Harrogate show, which you may have seen in super speed fast forward. Hang on, in the chat, take it off, Chris. Pants are overrated. I don't think they're talking about the pants, and I am wearing pants. Yeah, so that guest, it was on a fast forward video. In fact, I'm gonna have to take this off now, aren't I? So there you go. Oh, not embarrassing at all. And yes, repping the WCCS swag again. Getting sweaty for his fans only later. That is definitely happening. So today's guest is someone that was interviewed very poorly. Not very poorly. It was actually a fantastic interview. It was one of the highlights of the weekend. But I recorded that after definitely a few sherbets, and it didn't go too well. So today's guest is... Oh, sorry, jumping ahead. Of course, I need to do the Beer Token book promotion because those people sponsor the show, and that's very important for us. So today's Beer Token book promotion is somebody... let me pop the cover up on the screen very quickly. There it is. It's called Black Point. And if you see on the bottom of your screen now, it's by Kate Hirschberger. And at Twitter is at Kate_Shark, which is interesting. It's available to pre-order right now. It's out in August, I believe. And the blurb is, Joseph McNiff has lived a life unlike any other. Being half Irish and half Blackfoot is not easy for a young man in the Old West. He has a place in both the white man's world and the native tribe, but he's never really fit into either. It's even more complicated as he is really a woman and trying to keep the town safe as its sheriff. The last thing Joe needs is to make his life any harder than it already is. When a beautiful woman with a mysterious past comes into his life, Joe finds himself opening his home and quite possibly his heart to the newcomer. But he's also had to tread carefully, making sure that he doesn't reveal too much and risk putting himself in danger. So that is available now. It's called Black Point, as I mentioned. The description will be in the notes of the show. Please do check that out and support the authors that support this show. So thank you. Hello, everybody. Ready for some chaos. Hello, Halo. Welcome to the show. Okay, so tonight's guest, she is a debut author hailing from foggy London town, of course, who is a criminal solicitor. When she's not writing. And we have recently met at the Harrogate Festival. If you'd seen that show, obviously I mentioned it was a very fast-forwarded interview, but I actually watched it on the Plotter versus Pansters panel, which is something we'll talk about very shortly as well. And her book, The Jigsaw Man, came out this year. It's had wonderful praise. We'll talk about that in some depth too. And welcome to the show, Nadine. Hello.
Hi, lovely. I'm so glad to be here. I'm still laughing, sorry, at the OnlyFans comment.
Well, I have a very, very enthusiastic and I'm not sure what the word is, group of wonderful people that support this show.
They care.
They do care, and they demand. Hello, Nadine on the chat.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, Halo.
Yeah, they're there. I feel better already, E.G. Radcliffe. Okay. All we need now is some jazzy music. Okay. you definitely got the tone of the audience. So anyway, all I can say, it's wonderful to see you again after we had such a great time at Harrogate. How are you doing?
I am doing so well. I was disappointed that no one got to hear the interview of the year from us because it was at Star Wars Warp Speed. It was
a hilarious video as well. The interview, as there was many pictures showing how much fun we had during that interview as well.
We did. But I'm well, actually. I am keeping well.
Good. I mean, we got that video off the back of the author dinner.
Yeah.
Which is that the first time you've ever done that?
That was my first time at Harrogate. That was my first live authors festival. Everything I've been doing since the book came out has been online. So it's the first time I've been around people forever. So yeah, that was my first time hosting an authors table at Harrogate. And it was fun, actually. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. And it was a great experience. And obviously this, for a lot of people, that was the first time since lockdown.
Yeah.
That people actually interacted, and it was kind of a weird vibe. It wasn't a weird vibe; it was a kind of a laid-back, relaxed, people taking the slow approach. But have you done anything since that live?
No, I haven't done anything. So I've got a festival in St Albans coming up on the 15th of August. But it was so funny, the vibe there. It was like being an overexcited child. So you'll see people and immediately grab them, and then instantaneously you're like, oh no, is that okay? Should I be grabbing you? Should I be hugging you?
Oh, it was wonderful. But obviously I mentioned there that, we went to see a panel, and if we're being honest, Luca Vesta was supposed to be on that panel, as was Sarah Pimborough, previous guests we've had on our show. So we're very excited to see them. But of course, the realities of what's going on at the moment, the people were pinged and couldn't make it. But we did get to see some wonderful authors that we hadn't known at the time, and you were one of those authors. And straight off the bat, I said we need to get Nadine on the show, and it was brilliant. So, how did you feel stepping up to sit in the hot seat, I guess, in front of all those people?
I was kind of I was excited about it because I said I've been sitting in this room for the best part of a year doing all these online events. So I was really excited about being in front of a panel, but then it's also my first time being in front of a live audience in terms of crime writing festivals. But then everyone would say to me, but you're a lawyer, you used to do speeches, so it should be absolutely fine. But it's completely different because, I make speeches to 12 people, not to a whole big, massive audience.
And they were a very obedient audience as well, weren't they? They were just sat in silence, listening to every word that's been said. Yeah.
They were so engaged and so obedient, and I don't think I'm a funny person, but they laughed.
It was very funny. There was a lot of talk about pens and different kinds of paper that authors write on, which was kind of a fascinating thing to listen to. But there was a lot of love, which you actually tweeted about your yellow pages, and I didn't know these existed.
My yellow legal pads, because on the panel we were talking about whether you're a pantser or a planner when it comes to writing, and I'm very much a planner. I don't cope well if I'm just pantsing a novel. I said on the panel, I'll get to 20,000 words and I'll just get stuck. So I'm very much a planner, but I plan on these yellow legal pads, and there was this shock, like these yellow legal pads actually existed, and they do. They're out there in the world.
It's crazy, isn't it? I love yellow legal pads. There it is. They smell great. I mean, I'm not sure why you know there's so much Halo. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Jigsaw Man then, because I can see it poking from behind your left shoulder.
Yeah, I'm doing my advertising bit.
Yeah. Can you bring that to the camera? Can we have a look?
I've got it in front of me as well. See, I've been doing this a very long time now. So there's the Jigsaw Man.
We love in the comments on Twitter this week, someone mentioned how that yellow, the orange on that text and the bluish background really pops out well.
It does.
and you've got quite a few designs on your website, because obviously this is in different languages around the world. So in terms of cover, we'll get into the story shortly, but cover wise, how did you have any input on those, and do you have a favorite from all the different designs?
I think it's like picking your favorite child. I don't actually have like a favorite yet. But with the cover, they gave me like a mock-up of 5 different covers, like similar design, different colors. Some of them, this wasn't blue, it was red. In one, it wasn't a knife, it was a hook, like a fishing hook.
Okay.
So I was very much involved in, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I thought worked. And we just moved on from there. With some of the other covers, if the US cover I'll show you the US cover. I'm being very good today. I've got my books. So that's the US cover, and that's completely different.
It is.
But I was involved with that as well. What I liked, what I didn't like. This is I actually drew this. So
wow.
I've actually got my input on there.
That's amazing.
So I'll say the US and the UK has been very much involved. With the other countries so far, it's been, do you like it? But luckily, I have really liked it, really liked the covers. I mean, I'll show you the Italian one, which is cool.
Again, they're so different, and it always blows my mind.
They are.
Why they make them so different, and they don't just go, that's how it is across the board. I don't understand it, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I've seen the French cover. That's out in October. I don't have it with me yet. It's so different. It gave me a kind of a nightmare when I first saw it.
Okay,
but it's completely different to everything else.
Okay, let me pop this up on screen. I think I can do this, and I think it might be. If it's not the one I'm looking at, then it might be something else.
I think I put it on my Instagram.
Is it this?
No, that's the Australian cover.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's my dad's favorite. He'll be happy to shout out. That's my dad's favorite cover.
Okay.
But yeah, I really like them all. It's hard to pick a favorite. It really is.
When you talked about the hook being replaced by the knife, what decision was that? Was it the fact that a hook is kind of, I'd say, classically more horror, and the knife is more serial killer? Was it something to do with that? It
was a bit like that. It was a bit like it just felt more definitive of a certain genre having the actual hook. It just had that more horror aspect to it. And then also...
You've gone mute. Can
you hear me now?
Yes. You pressed the button there.
I don't know what happened. I apologise.
Don't apologise.
No, but I think I was saying that the hook on the cover, it felt very much like it was part of the horror genre to me, and the seal and the knife on the cover. It wasn't even the knife so much; it was the fact there. You can see there's the eye.
Yes.
And that just struck out at me more. And I thought, no, this is definitely it's firmly in that serial killer.
So talking of hooks, then let everybody know that may not know what the Jigsaw Man is. It's been out a little while now, and by the way, I was very impressed, and I shared this on the group the other day, saying that this book and it's done great. It's got 700 and something, 770 reviews, and now it's on like 800 and something. It's gone up. Yeah, it's jumped up like 100, or I think in not long, or maybe a couple. Yeah, so I was like, this is doing really well. But what's the hook? What can you tell people about it if they don't know what the story's about?
Well, it starts off when body parts are found on the riverbank in Deptford in southeast London. And my Detective Inspector Angelica Henley, she's been on desk duties. So she's been on restricted duties for about a year now. So she's sent along to this crime scene. And she also has a new partner with her. I call him Paul DC Remuta. He's a trainee, and he just really I kind of put him through it in the book. But when they reach the crime scene, they discover that the body parts matches the MO of a serial killer who's called the Jigsaw Killer, but also his real name is Peter Olivier. But he's currently serving a life sentence in prison. So she realises she's got a copycat on her hands. And at some point, she has to go to Olivier to get some help from him. But he doesn't take too kindly to know there's a copycat out there. So it's a question of who's going to catch this copycat first, whether it's Olivier or whether it's going to be Henley. So that's it in a nutshell. It's a long elevator pitch.
Is the name Henley for like a reason to do with kind of London? Because there's a Henley in London. Is that connected at all?
No, I have no idea where the name came from for Henley. I know where Olivier came from because I was thinking of Laurence Olivier because I thought.
So I've got a couple of things. I looked at them earlier and I couldn't put them in. So detective names, and obviously you're talking about them there. I found 3 online that you may like, and I want to see which one you prefer. The first one is Just In Case. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Someone that's written this one, which I find bizarre. Lizard Folk Investigator.
Oh no, that's too much.
That is too much. Or Casey Closed, which I thought was quite good.
I like Casey Close, but Just In Case is my favorite.
Just In Case is very good.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. So obviously coming up with names for me is an absolute bitch, if I'm being honest.
No, yeah.
You find it easy?
No, because this morning, today I've been working on a proposal for another series, and I spent a lot of time like the baby names website trying to find names, and then sometimes I just scroll through like newspaper articles and look at the bylines of who wrote it just to get something different in terms of names. I don't find it easy coming up with names at all.
It's weird if I see a name that I know somebody and it relates in terms of their personality, I'm like, I can't have them. But then if I see a name I don't know and it's like, oh, that's a weird name, I can't use that one either.
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes I use, because I kind of struggle to find names to fit the characters, except Olivier, because I just always thought he was going to be someone who was charming and was able to mass people, and I just thought of Laurence Olivier, so I named him. I don't know, named Olivier. But I use like friends' names and family names as placeholders.
Wow. Whilst
I'm trying to, working my way through the story. And Henley's husband in the book is called Rob. And at the time, I couldn't think of a name. So one of my good friends is called Rob.
Yeah.
So I called him Rob, planning to change it later, but it just stuck. And everyone was like, no, you need to keep it as Rob. And I didn't tell him until about a month before the book came.
Wow. That's amazing, though. I just find it a weird thing. If I know the name of somebody and I'm trying to write their character, I just get their distraction of the real person. Yeah. And it's just a tough thing. But I guess, like you mentioned, you're very structured in your approach to writing. So, do you really plot this out in terms of posters or Post-it notes, or how much detail do you go into plotting this?
I'm not. I tried doing the whiteboard thing, and it doesn't work. I get bored. I get bored very easily. So I got bored writing stuff on his whiteboard, and I just gave it to my godson in the end. So he's got that. Then I tried the whole Post-it notes on this door. This door is clean because it didn't work. And I'll just Post-it notes saying there's a dead body, you need to find out like down the stairs. So I'm very pen and paper.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you'd accidentally kind of thrown that in the bin and it like fell out the bin on the street somewhere and they'd read it and like, oh, there's a body somewhere, there's a body.
I hope so, because I put notes on everything. So I'm hoping the bin men make far too much noise on a Monday.
That would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
You scared them, yeah.
Yeah, just going through all the rubbish going, I think we need to phone the police.
Yeah, definitely. But I plan, but I don't do the whiteboard and thing, but I start off with an outline.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll outline, they're not the chapters, just sections, because I use like the 3-act structure. So I've got this mad system where I break it down into 30 sections.
Okay.
I'll split it between the acts. And then I do like a 3-line summary for each section. And that's how I plan out the first draft of the book. But I'm always say I don't stick to it rigidly, because sometimes when you're writing, like characters materialize out of nowhere. You have no intention of being in the story. Or even when I've been writing book 2, like a subplot. I won't tell you the subplot, but the subplot just emerged because Henley was examining a crime scene, and this subplot emerged. And I remember sitting there going, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to deal with this. But it's a good subplot. But then that's the whole point of editing and your next drafts, because then I knew that with the next draft I'm going to try and fix it and weave it much more seamlessly through the story. But I couldn't work without a plan. No way.
No, not like me. Just make it up as I go along.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It just spews out, and I try to be a little more structured, and I just don't like it. It like takes the fun out of the adventure. I quite literally let the character do it, and I think, oh, that's good. I
think you still have an adventure though, even with, because mine's not rigid. It's not like I have to stick to what happened in section 1 and I have to follow on. Because sometimes characters change, their story arcs change. So you just, in a sense, follow the story. But then I've always said it's like a safety net, a brain comfortable knowing that it's there I can fall back on.
Okay. Maybe I should try it a little better. Spews out. Yeah, basically Halo is rubbish, but in a good way. So there's a couple of I normally go back to the start, and we'll do this in the backwards kind of way and find out where writing came from and go in that story. But there's a couple of questions I want to ask you about some of the reviews you've had on your book. So
it's a good one.
No, all the 1-star ones. No, I'm joking.
I don't read the one.
No one should ever read the 1-star ones.
No, my mum did though.
Yeah,
they were wrong.
What did they wrong? Did she like message them? This is wrong.
Yeah, she's like, what's wrong with them? Yeah. They're wrong.
Crazy people. So let me find the first one. Okay, so tense and dark, it has a real Silence of the Lamb vibe. And Peter Olivier is my new Hannibal Lecter. Brilliant, from Lisa Hall. My question on that quote is, were you aware when you were writing this story that it was being perceived in this way at all, or was it kind of a plan to kind of angle it in that direction?
No, because when I originally planned the story, Olivier was never supposed to be a major part of the story. For me, he was always it was just a plot device. Yeah. Just to get the story moving. So he was never, Henley was probably supposed to see him 2 or 3 times, and that would have been the end of it. You would never have seen him. But what happened was that my agent read it, and friends have read the book, and people I did the course with, they read it, and my editor, and everyone really liked Olivier, and they wanted more of him. So I had to write more of him and weave him, make his story much more bigger. But then I suppose in the back of my head, I did think they're gonna say, because it's we've got a detective and we've got Olivier, they're gonna say it's classic Clarice and Hannibal.
It's kind of due for a really good connection like that again, isn't it? I mean, why not?
I'm not knocking it at all.
Yeah,
you can put it all over the book all day long.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah, it's a great comparison, and and people are making the comparison in a good way. They're not making the comparison, this is like a cheap South London ripoff of Silence of the Lambs. It's they're making a comparison in a good way, and it's drawing people to the book. And I like to think that Olivier is a lot different too. He's not eating people for starters, so we got that.
There is a lot of there's a few comments in that kind of region of Silence of the Lambs-esque, and it's all very, very positive feedback in that relation. So it must be wonderful to hear that. But there's also this other review, and it says, I would give this more stars if I could. For a debut novel in this genre, this is simply brilliant. The twists and turns you go through keep you on the edge of your seat. I couldn't put it down. And I love when I hear this kind of review, because I want to ask always, again, as a structured writer, you may have planned these things, but what advice would you give someone who wants to write in any sort of genre that really wants to put a kind of twist in their story?
I would say don't think too hard about the twist, because I think sometimes you can read a book and it just becomes so apparent that they've worked really, really hard and focused on having a twist at this point and that point. And sometimes a twist can just come across naturally in the progression of your writing. So I think when you're writing that first draft, you can have an idea of what you want to happen and work towards that. But if your story doesn't naturally lead that way, I think don't be put off by it, because sometimes the twist then emerges through something another random character may say. So that's my advice. Don't too hard on creating a twist, because sometimes they just occur naturally.
Okay. So let's do the backwards thing and go back to where I should have started. Writing in your life, where did that come from, and kind of what were the inspirations behind that? How did you get into writing?
Well, I've always written stuff. Like when I was young, I remember the first thing I tried to write, I watched The Labyrinth, and I tried to write my own version of The Labyrinth.
Interesting.
I remember sitting on my dad's typewriter writing The Labyrinth. But I said I've always written stories, but then I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer as well. So that was kind of my focus, doing the traditional university, law school, and qualifying as a lawyer. But I always wrote on the side when I was at university. I had this idea of being a screenwriter. So I was writing like screenplays. They never went anywhere, but I've always had my hand in that creative side of it. And then I think when I started practicing as a solicitor, and I said I specialize in criminal law, I remember preparing like my client statements and preparing the briefs to go to the barristers. And I remember thinking, it's just a story. I'm continuously telling a story. And sometimes some of the things I was writing, I would feel no one would believe this. Like if I was to put this in a book. So those cases, a lot of cases that I worked on, they all kind of stuck in my mind, like certain traits of the clients and certain aspects of their cases. And I did I don't know if it's Nanowrimo. I did that. Whatever. I think it was 2013, 14. Okay. I did that. And I'd gone freelance as a solicitor back then. So I was working freelance. And I did Nanowrimo, and I wrote this book. It's not crime. It was like general, I say contemporary fiction. And I wrote that, and I self-published that because a friend of mine at the same time, who was also a lawyer, he left the law and he was writing sci-fi. So we were kind of, and he was self-publishing as well. So we were kind of like helping each other, a little support network. And it just, being in that space, it just like encouraged me more to, okay, I can write a book and I can finish a book, and let me just see where this can go.
Amazing.
And I wrote a sci-fi short story for an anthology that he put together, and then I did a creative writing masters at City University, and that focused on crime writing, because I said I'm the planner, and I'd written probably about 2 or 3. I say they're not books, but I'd started 2 or 3 stories without a plan, and they were crime novels. And I said I'll get to 20,000 words, and they weren't going anywhere at all. And I thought, doing the course, I thought that would help me with plotting and structure and, combining all those elements. Okay. And that's where the Jigsaw Man came from.
I mean, for someone then who may be kind of getting to know their writing and what they should be doing in terms of being an author, would you suggest going on some sort of course to kind of grow that structure and figure that kind of thing out, or would you just say carry on as you are? What would you advise on that?
I think it's a combination of both. I think carry on as you are, carry on doing whatever you're writing, whether it's short stories, novels, carry on doing that. But you can, do a course, even if it's just a short 3-month course. I think it will always help in terms of you helping to understand like the basic elements of story writing. So I say whether it's to deal with characterization or structure, or even things like pace. I think it can help. And even if you can't manage, you haven't got the time or finances don't enable you to get on the course, do like workshops and meetups with other writers. And that always, because I did a couple of those. I mean, some people were strange on them, and I never went back.
Any stories? Any good?
No, they were just
okay.
They were just special. Just like that.
Very special.
They were very special.
I'm being a little distracted because a comment popped up and I thought, who's this? It's obviously Rob Parker's back.
Is it Rob Parker? Hello, Rob.
Hey, Chris and Nadine, 2 incredible people in one place. What a night. We were talking about him just before we came on air. All good things, I assure you, Rob.
Very nice things, Rob.
Yeah. Hello to you on the chat. You guys are having a great conversation in there, and I love looking at that. It's very distracting, but I love looking at it.
Yeah.
Loved your Harrogate interview, Rob. There was another one of the 2 interviews that I messed up on that weekend. The very first one we had, me and Rob sat in the big green chair and had a hell of a laugh. And there was no sound on that one at all. No. So you were not the first, Nadine.
Your 2 best people, your 2 best interviewees, no sound with one and me at warp speed.
Genuinely, the 2.
I think it was just the excitement.
It was.
Yeah.
Absolute excitement. So yeah, I mean, it's great to have. I love the way as well you said, a quick 3-month course. I'm like that. Oh, that's not for me. I can't do 3 months.
Okay. I reckon good. Even 2.
2, maybe 2. Okay. So very shortly we'll get into something we call a new family member. We welcome someone on Twitter that follows the show, give them a boost, and then we'll get some questions from the community. Which in a minute I'll say that we're going to do that, and the guys can send us some questions in. But Rob says, I know, Nadine, it was a real disgrace.
It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But before we do that, I got some kind of staple questions on the show, and let's see if we can throw them in your direction and see if you can give it an answer to them. So if you could take a character from the world of fiction, whether that be TV, books, film, whatever that is, and create your own story with a character or add them into a story of your own, what character would you choose and why?
Oh, I've just decided. Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. I've decided I want him in Henley's world.
Okay.
I think they would match up. There'll be a good pairing.
It's be an option, right?
Yeah, it's been an option for TV. Oh, good. So I'll see if I can get Andrew Lincoln in.
Oh my God, yes, please. And can I come to the shooting, please? Because I am a massive Walking Dead fan.
You can.
Okay, that is a great choice. Because let's be honest, he has been kind of stuck in the world of The Walking Dead, as everyone else has been for about 15. Well, it's going to be 12-ish years now. It's ridiculous. But he is probably working on other things. So that's a great shout. In terms of being optioned, yeah. What else? Anyone else? Have you got any ideas that you would like a dream casting?
So Andrew Lincoln's one. I had Michael Fassbender. I thought would be really cool to play Olivier. I think, and Naomi Harris maybe as Henley. Okay. I thought that would be a really good interaction. Amazing.
Yeah, that would be very good. Okay, moving on from that. If you could change the ending to anything, again, we'll open up to every kind of genre. What ending would you change and why? It doesn't have to be a bad ending. It could be a good one. Have you got an idea?
I was going to change the ending of Black Widow with Scarlett. Actually, I might just change the whole film.
Right. Like it. Yeah, big fan then.
Yeah, I'm a big comic book fan, and it disappointed me, and I thought you could have done better.
What would you change or add to that story?
I'd have them stick to the actual comic book story, and not what they did.
It's always hard, isn't it, for comic fans, because there's so much that happens in the comics, and then it doesn't really portray that well on a film or TV.
And sometimes you can go with it if the story, it plays out. You can kind of I can put my comic book knowledge to one side, but sometimes you're watching something, you're like, no, you've done it a disservice.
It's tough. It really is. And I mean, the big thing for me, it's not a comic book, but like World War Z, the book. Have you ever read that? It is the most incredible world building, and it goes to all extremes and extents that I could think of. And then it gets to the film, and the only comparison they do is the character's name. And like they missed out on so many things that they could have put in there that were so cool, and they just didn't bother.
I think that's the hard thing though with lots of books that have been adapted into TV or film. They can't put everything in it. So when the Jigsaw Man's eventually made into a show, I know they're not going to have everything in there, but you still want that core to be transferred to the screen. And when it's not there, and when they miss out something as amazing as, for example, like amazing ending, you're like, well, why did you do that? Yeah.
So here's a question then: if they said to you, okay, we're gonna make this with Rick Grimes in it, Andrew Lincoln, but the ending we're going to change completely, and you're not happy with it, what would you say?
Oh no, I'll put my foot down.
Really?
I would, because the ending, I can't tell you the ending because I've watched it, but read the book. But the ending opens up into this world. So if you were to change it, it would it would shut things off. And I'll put my lawyer hat on and definitely we're not having this.
When we had Sarah Pinborough, have you seen or read her?
I've read the book. I haven't finished the Netflix show.
So in the book and the show, there's a bit when there's a cat that gets it, and in the book and the show are completely different ways, and one's a much more violent way than the other. So I find that really interesting that they'll leave the scene in there but change how it happens.
Yeah.
But it happens.
It does.
Okay. So I'll give you one more, and that is when you finished your career and you were looking back on your deathbed, as we normally say.
Oh, all right.
Looking back at your career, what would you class as success for you? What would be a highlight of your career? And you think, do you know what? I'm done that. I'm happy with it.
You know what? It goes back to my legal career, because there was a lot of kids that I'd represented.
Yeah.
They had actually they just made the wrong decision. They got involved with the wrong people, and we got a good result for them in court. And I had one client, he was 18 and he'd been involved in this grievous bodily harm case, so this horrible assault case. And he'd never been in trouble before. He ended up being remanded in prison. And we got him off. I did the trial and he got acquitted. And he said, thank you so much. I took on all your advice. I basically told him off. And he just graduated from university. So I think,
oh, wow.
And he was doing really well. So I think those little moments would I probably be like, yeah. But also, I think with the Jigsaw Man and just introducing new characters to people and offering people a different perspective of life and London, and especially like us, and also like Black women in the police force in this book, and also Black female crime writers, and just making them aware of that. I think that I'll look back longingly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a wonderful thing because you're actually helping change someone's life for the better and putting them on a path. And there's only so much you can do to try and help somebody and put yourself in that position, but it's not often that they actually get to do that. So when you see the feedback and, you know, you get that kind of news, it really is kind of a self-accomplishment, achieving a happiness that you shared together as well.
Yeah, it does. And it kind of, you don't do things to get that sort of, you know, get that accolade and get someone praising you and putting up a monument on the height. I mean, it'd be nice for them to put a monument for me. They can do that. But, you know, when it does come, and even with the book, I've had so many readers email me and saying how they were surprised that Henley was a Black woman, and they've been surprised when they've opened up my picture, they see my picture in the book and they've seen it's me.
Wow.
And they've been like, no, they haven't seen that. And they've been really supportive, and you know, even and in random places like around the world, people have been emailing me, and it's just it's nice. It really is.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I just wouldn't think that would happen, and it's just a strange, you know, thing to listen to. Talking about listening to, I listened to the audio sample of the audiobook earlier, which is narrated by yourself.
No, not me. I didn't narrate it. No, God,
I thought it was you.
No, they asked me, and I said no.
Okay, because on the audiobook on the bottom, because I've got an audiobook, but it says narrated by, and that's got your name there. So I was thinking, okay.
Yeah, no, they asked me, and I went, no, I didn't think I could do.
Would you do it?
It
would you like another chat if you wrote something else? Would you think, do you know what, I'm going to give it a go or not?
Maybe a short story. I'll probably be more comfortable doing it. But the audiobook, it was because I was involved in auditioning the narrators for it, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So I was involved in that. But then I didn't hear the audiobook until the date was published. So I got a copy, and I remember I had it playing on Alexa.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. So I put her the book, and it was the first time that I really understood what readers and what my editor and agents were saying about the characters, and also a lot of the feedback has been, you know, it's gruesome, and I never thought the scenes were gruesome because I'm just writing a book and I work in criminal law, so I'm used to looking at autopsy pictures and crimes. It doesn't throw me off, but hearing someone else speak your words, and then hearing how they describe a crime scene, or even speaking and hearing Olivier, I actually stopped in the middle of my room, was like, what the?
Did I write that? Shit.
Yeah, like, did I write that? Oh my God, yeah, now I get it.
Wow, that is awesome. I'd never thought about that. I mean, people do say that you know, they said how like gruesome their stories are, but you never feel that way yourself. And I kind of get that, but you know, Halo in the chat, she's a great example because she writes some brutal stuff. But it is weird, definitely, to hear it from another perspective. So
yeah.
Fantastic. What we'll do now, we will do the introduction for the new family member. And in the meantime, have a think in the audience right now about the questions that you want to ask Nadine or myself or both of us. They can be fun, they can be serious, they can be about writing or whatever you want. Just keep it clean-ish.
Yeah, keep it very clean. My mum and dad might be watching.
Yeah. And we'll introduce the new family member, for which we have a video. So I will play that video and then we'll introduce that person.
Yeah.
And Mario says in the chat, Halo, writing brutal stuff? No, not at all. Okay, so our new family member is Tom Williams. And to make it awkward, his Twitter handle is @TomWill6148726. Thanks for that, Tom. He says, I'm here to spread the word of the expression of words. Okay. Hashtag I'm reading, hashtag reader, hashtag books. He's got 141 followers. So what we like to do, Nadine, is send this person a GIF or a GIF, I still don't know which it is, to them on Twitter. But you get to choose what kind of GIF that is. So what are we going to send this person? It could be as random as you want, because we've had some random ones.
Let's get in the Minions. I love the Minions.
That's the second time we've had Minions, but yes, let's do it.
One of the Minions. We can send them Steppenwolf from Justice League. One of the two.
Well, you can't have two. You got to pick one.
All right then, Minions. Send them the Minions.
Minions. Any particular minion?
I think there's one shaking his bum.
A shaking bum minion. That's fantastic. So let me see if I can find this guy. And again, if you're listening back to this or watching it back, don't just do it today. Keep being random, because he might think this is bizarre. There's apparently a lot of Tom Williams, so perhaps that's why he has a lot of numbers.
1487260.
Yeah. Okay. I can't find him a second. There's too many numbers. 7260. It's like a phone number I'm putting in here.
I was going to say it's like a prison number. Prison number's got letters, so it's not a prison number.
Okay, I can't find him right now. I'm sure the audience will pick that up. Anyway, so let's send him those. Goats Unite. No, we didn't send him goats. We're pretty awesome. Welcome to the crazy family. Okay, hello to you on the chat for you if you're here for the first time. So, okay, time for questions from the community. Guys, if you have some questions, please send them in now. We've got 2 in already, so I'll ask them in the meantime. And while we're reading those, if you have some more, please send them. Okay, so you ready, Nadine, for some random questions from our community?
Well, the randomness, yeah.
So, JC Pawson, hello to you. Great to see you as always. Joanne says, I would be very interested in knowing which books or TV series Nadine feels are spot on accuracy-wise in terms of police procedure and or criminal MOs.
I'll say none of them.
Not even close.
No, they're not. I mean, I've had to do it myself. You've had to kind of take dramatic license because I'm a lawyer and I kind of want to follow the law. Sometimes the law and fiction doesn't quite work and you can kind of write yourself into a corner. So, I really liked Silk. I can't remember her name, the actress who played the barrister. I really liked Silk, and there were some elements of it which were really good, like the barrister's world, I suppose, in being in chambers, and also like some of the court scenes. But then there were small things, like procedural things, that were wrong. So I don't think I'm really struggling. There's not many, unless you go back to the Bill way back when.
Used to love the Bill.
Bill was great.
It was great. You mentioned the chambers.
Yeah.
Is there anything you tell us about it? What it's like?
Well, in barristers' chambers.
Yeah.
In court.
Well, either. In
barristers, to be fair, there's nothing very exciting happens in barristers' chamber. Just normally just used to go there to have meetings and conferences with your clients. But the courtroom, I love the courtroom, but it's always, I teach law as well, and the question I'm always asked by the law students is, do we shout out objection? Because they watch you watch so much American legal programs as growing up and just in life that you're always watching it and you just hear the
so.
No, we don't.
Come on.
I really think we should, because you have to be very British about it. When a witness has said the wrong thing, or your prosecutor is repeating the question or badgering the witness, you have to be very British and stand up and say you want to Mr. So-and-so is doing X, Y, and Z, or just whisper really harshly, like, stop it. But we don't get the shout up objection, and the judge doesn't have a gavel. So there's no
that's ridiculous.
No, we don't have
what
none
do
of
they do? Just say, shush, please.
No, yeah, literally. They just raise their voice, maybe.
That's pretty rubbish.
It is a bit rubbish. So we don't have those little dramatic moments. And also in the courtroom, we're not allowed to move around the courtroom. So, in American dramas, they'll walk up to the...
approach the bench, please.
Yeah, we never have sidebars. We don't have sidebars.
Oh, come on.
It's all a bit dull.
That's kind of ruined my whole visual of what the courts are like now.
Don't get it wrong, it can be sometimes, but
I imagine it can be. But okay, let's have a little look. I saw a question a little while back from Rob, and of course we can't leave that out. There you go. When the opportunity arises, from Mr. Rob Parker, the real one, can I ask what Nadine's elevator pitch for her own Batman comic series would be? And that's a great question.
It's a great question. My elevator pitch would be: a woman approaches Bruce Wayne and says that she's really his mother, and that she was that night, and she's then taken into Arkham Asylum, but then she's kidnapped by the Joker. That is like That is great, because I think it's quite good.
Daddy could have been having a little side date,
Yeah.
And he thinks mum and dad are dead, but she's not.
She's not. I'm still alive.
I love
Because
that.
I don't think we've ever seen the bodies like buried or anything. See, he's always moping by a gravesite.
Yeah, and to be fair, in the film, you just kind of saw a shadowy. I mean, you saw them, but they were shadowy figures when he kind of saw the bodies. So yeah, why not?
I hope DC are on there.
That's interesting. Which Batman? Which actor Batman would you have?
Oh, see, I like Affleck as that older, brooding Batman. It's Michael Keaton or Affleck. I can't get over Bale's voice anymore.
I like Bale in the Batman, and I also like this new approach they're coming with Robert Pattinson. Not so much maybe Robert Pattinson, he may change my mind, but the whole aspect of dark Batman, his anger's coming out and he's going, taking vengeance. I'm like, I kind of like that idea.
I like that sign of it, and I think that's probably why I like Ben Affleck's Batman, because it's not the whole, I'm starting my journey again and this is how I came. But he's been Batman for 20 odd years. He's tired. You feel like
tired.
You're tired and you're a bit fed up.
I know. So we'll see what that's like when that comes out. But okay, so more questions. Let's have a little look. Noel, hello to you. I fell asleep in Crown Court. I was probation officer for my sins, and the judge was not impressed. Excuse me, can you wake up, please?
I can talk. I've had a judge fall asleep in court.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can relate it to in kind of officials is watching Parliament Time or Question Time, and I think someone in this week said "ahoy there," and the chair speaker was all like, "I would not have said that in my day," and all this. I was thinking, what is going on? This is crazy. Ahoy there.
Yeah, I have replied cool back to a judge. I just wasn't paying attention, and I was like, I'm sorry, because I'm not supposed to reply cool or okay.
Okay. Again, from Noel. Nadine, what has been your highlight so far since the Jigsaw Man was published?
It was seeing it in a shop, seeing it in Waterstones for the first time, because the book came out on the 18th of February, and we were right in lockdown. Everything was shut down. And I remember this time last year thinking to myself, well, the time that February comes around, we'll be out of lockdown and I'll be able to do like a little, do my signing, do a launch. And everything happened to me in lockdown. I mean, I had to take this picture in here, like this one of me. I don't know if you can see. I took that because we were in lockdown. we couldn't get photographers or anything.
Selfie in your book cover. I love it.
Yeah. So it's a selfie. So May this year was the first time I saw my book on the shelves in Waterstones, and it sounds a little bit, it should be something more grander, but seeing it for the first time.
Yeah. And
then my neighbour the other day knocked my door and told me that she had to tell them off because my book wasn't in stock, and she demanded to know why it wasn't. And it sold out, so that is good.
I love the idea of doing this, and I've seen it on social media a few times. So have you had the feeling yet to go up to a book in a shop and just write a little message in there or sign it or do something like that?
I went to Waterstones in Piccadilly and I saw mine in there and I said, can I sign it? And they let me sign it. I didn't write a note though, but when I did the signing at Harrogate, I did a little message. It's like one in the shop. So you walk past it in Tesco's and you write, this is a secret message. You're lucky to find this or something. I think I will.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
When the paperback comes out, if we get into Tesco's, then I'm going to do a little message.
Definitely. This might be a tough one to answer, but it's a good question for Halo. Who has killed the most characters, Nadine or the real Rob Parker? I
don't know. Is Rob still there? Who was killed? I don't know. I don't think I've killed that many people not in real life.
Yeah. Is it a spoiler to say how many people are killed in your book? I guess it would be, wouldn't it?
A few. It's a serial killer. So there's serial killings.
Yeah. I mean, this question from Anya, thanks for putting the big words in there. You know how much I love them. On that note, what was the most irregular? No, I can't even say that. No one knows what this word is, Anya. Please rephrase. Mistake you've ever seen on a TV show. And I'm guessing if anyone can tell us what that means.
I suppose
ridiculous
the most ridiculous mistake.
Yeah.
It can only be, I suppose, it's really petty. It's really just me nitpicking. It might have been in silk, and the barristers they're wearing the wrong gown. That's all it was, and they're carrying the wrong book. And it's not even like a big mistake. Oh no, it was that series about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes, the coffin one.
Yeah, was it the quiz
Right.
show, the coffin one? And the barrister shouted out objection. And
You're not allowed to do that.
We don't do that. So that has been the big or biggest mistake, or the biggest mistake I've seen on a TV show, because that was wrong.
Yeah. Lale says, I wonder how accurate the show How to Get Away with Murder is. Have you ever seen that?
I do. I love it, but I don't know how accurate it is. It's so far-fetched, I think. So I don't think it's that accurate.
There is another question we've got, and I will ask it because I'm kind of intrigued to know what your answer would be. If you could bring any author back from the dead to write a bestseller with, on the condition that you must then kill them afterwards, who would you choose and how would you kill them? Michael
Crichton. I'd bring back. Jurassic Park and the Lost World is brilliant.
What would you write with that person?
I would like to write a legal thriller with him.
With dinosaurs? No.
We can throw in a dinosaur. Or maybe someone stole the original fossil with the DNA in it. We can have something like that. God, I don't want to kill him off again. Michael Crichton, I didn't kill him the first time, but
yeah, what are you not telling us?
How would I kill him?
Yeah, how would you do it?
Meat rendering plant.
Wow. Well, do you know what? We've had some poisons been a few times. We've had push him off a boat, I think. We've had some crazy killings, but a meat grinder?
Yeah, that's a bit dark, isn't it?
That is dark, and I love it. But
it's the best way of getting rid of everything. People make these little mistakes. But the thing is, you've got to clean the machinery afterwards. That's DNA can get a little bit messy.
Unless you throw a few more animals through, would that not like... A few
more animals would.
Rid the DNA? I'm not sure. I have no idea.
That could. I've given this far too. I haven't thought about this a lot, actually, just for anyone who's wondering. I haven't planned a perfect murderer.
Yeah. Is there any farms close to you, by the way, I should stay away from?
Yeah, there's a farm. There's a city farm.
Chelsea says, episode 1 of How to Get Away with Murder was shot on my college campus.
Oh, wow.
I've had classes in the room she was using in the first few minutes of the episode, which is kind of cool.
They shot 4 Dark World around the corner from me. But they're always filming where I live, so because I'm by the river. So that's always fun.
Yeah. I mean, the Thames, right?
Yeah.
Does it ever overflow?
No, not because we've got the Thames barrier. So, to my knowledge, it's never overflowed. Okay. I did have a question from a reader who said I'd made a mistake in my book because she said that rivers don't have tides, and I was like, they do. The River Thames does have high tides and low tides.
We've got like the biggest tides in the world. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of does happen pretty much.
It does, but when you get a question like that, you do end up like questioning, have I made a mistake? Like, I'm like, no, I know this is true.
But that's why we had I think last year there was a whale in the Thames, right?
Yeah, there was.
Last year? Yeah, and that was down to the tides. So it definitely happens. Noah says, love the meat grinder idea. Also, wood chippers. Meat grinder kind of designed.
I think it'd be more efficient.
I think wood chipper would kind of spread evidence everywhere. Like, is there a body? Yes, it's spread all the way up there, bones and whatever.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Not sure. Not sure about the wood chipper. There was actually we watched. There was a film called The Silence. Was it The Silence? Tim Leben wrote the book. He was on the show talking about that and how Quiet Place was kind of similar in the same time. And in that film, there's all these kind of bat things that kind of kill people. But then he turns on this wood chipper and they all fly in there and starts killing them. And then he turns it off and then barricades himself in the house. I thought, why wouldn't you just leave that on?
Why just leave it on all the time? Yeah. Barricade.
Fargo. Is there something like that in Fargo? I'm not sure. I've not seen that.
I'm not sure.
No. Okay, I think. Yeah. I think there aren't any more questions. I'll just go through them very quickly. No, I can't see any more community questions. We will finish up very shortly. So if you do want to squeeze 1 or 2 in, you can do. But brutal death, indeed. There are very brutal deaths. Talk to us about TV and film then, or books. What do you love to read? Is there a favorite author, or do you love TV shows or films? What stands out there for you?
Oh, at the moment, because I'm in between novels. So my book 2 is with my editor, so I'm waiting for that to come back. So I'm getting back into reading again, but I'm catching up on all my comics. So I've got like a large collection. of comics. I'm catching up on those, but I do love just reading good crime fiction, and James Ellroy is one of my favourites, and I've got his last two to get through. They're so big, but yeah, I love reading those, and I went through a phase of, I think it was more to do with being in lockdown. I was going back to watching like really old movies. Like I watched a lot of Clint Eastwood, like the westerns and all the Dirty Harrys, and I'm enjoying more that era of movies than the new stuff that's coming out.
That's interesting. I'm not sure. I'm sure I watched something quite old the other day, and I can't remember what that is. I know The Labyrinth was on telly the other week.
Apparently it's 30th anniversary or something crazy like that.
Perhaps that's why it was on, yeah. There was one more question. Halo says, do you have jury duty in the UK? I'm pretty sure we do.
We do, and I've done jury service.
Okay. I have not.
It's interesting. I don't think lawyers should do it. They changed the rules so we could do it, and I think that's a very bad idea. Because I got kicked off after a week and a half because I pulled on to free trial. It was just my bad luck.
Objection!
Well, I should have shouted objection, but I knew the barrister who was prosecuting one trial, and in the second one, it was the same thing. The prosecutor had been on a case together, so he knew me. So
yeah, that shouldn't happen, really.
Yeah, I got kicked off 2 cases, so it was just a bit pointless. But we do have jury duty, but we don't have, what Americans do, this whole jury selection where you call a juror and you ask them 101 questions and then say, no, we don't want them. You're literally just called.
Yeah.
And elected, that's it, unless you give a reason why you can't serve on that jury.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Do they cover costs of like employment and stuff? Obviously you're not in work, so
no, you get like a $5 to get some McDonald's.
So what if you don't get paid from your workplace then?
I don't think you no, because I didn't get paid. I didn't get what I lost out on.
What?
Yeah, you get paid your travel and your meal.
Don't call me up, Jude. I'm not doing it.
No,
not happening. Okay, on that note, just before we do go, in fact, I will pop up on screen your website because it's worth looking at indeed.
Thank you.
It's NadineMatheson.com. Check that out, please. Obviously, check out the Beer Token support that we've had tonight. That is a way to support the cost of this show by advertising your book very cheaply. Works very well. So please check that out on our website. But Nadine, all I can say is thank you so much for actually speaking to us where the sound works and we're not working at 2 times speed. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a really good time. Thank you.
I'm glad. To all you guys on the chat watching this back, thank you so much for spending your time with this show. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate you being here. So look after yourselves, guys, and we will see you very, very soon. Hang on, one more thing. We get paid like $5 a day jury thing. Yeah, that kind of sounds rubbish. Not for me.
McDonald's. Telling you.
Yeah, McDonald's. Where's that goodbye video? I can't find it. Yes, I can. Right. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you very shortly on Friday, indeed. And then next week, the panel show is back. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a big guest next Wednesday. So please look out for that advertisement. And we will see you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.